wasn't talking about like this show where I had to come in and take the third string.
What show were you talking about?
I mean, one time I showed up with somebody else's daddy, and we just did a whole show. How about that?
I remember that show. First quote of the day. If you decide to fire him, you should know that you'll lose me too. Threatened Khabib Nurmagomedov on Instagram, responding to the UFC canceling the fight of his training partner and countryman, Zubaira Tukhugov, who hit Conor McGregor during their post-fight melee. Bo, if you were Dana White, how would you respond to that sort of a threat?
Leave then. That would be my response. Like, once again, as it stands, Khabib means something to us in the orbit of Conor McGregor, right? That's not to say that he's not a better fighter, all right? This is in my world, so who knows? Maybe he's the most entertaining fighter that there is. But fighters are disposable parts, by and large, right? And probably, or in all likelihood at some point, there's a reason why he's in the UFC. He wants to be in the UFC. He could go somewhere else. He might want to get some more money, whatever it is. But this is the show right now.
Well, he right now is at the peak form of indispensability that he can claim because of the McGregor fight. But I also think that he might actually leave, that this isn't just bluster, because the other thing he said in that Instagram post, and I'll read it off of this quote, and one more thing, you can keep my money that you are withholding. You are pretty busy with that. I hope it won't get stuck in your throat. You've defended our honor, and this is the most important thing.
Yeah, no, I think he might leave.
I think he might leave.
But I don't think that necessarily hurts Dana White if he does.
But what's crazy about this to me is that apparently the UFC fighters are taking, by and large, the side of Khabib.
Yeah.
And they're taking the side of Khabib because they do see Dana White as, yes, a skilled promoter, a circus taskmaster of sorts, a ringleader, but they also see a guy who started this whole fight promotion with violence and now is disproportionately punishing this dude when violence comes from him.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say, though, like the violence line, you sell fights inside, cage, ring, whatever you want to talk about, right? There's always been some presumption that outside of it, that you're probably not supposed to be beating people up, right? There are lines, there are lines that you get to draw on that one. My only thing is these fighters all understand this. You think fighters didn't notice about Bob Arum? They didn't notice about Don King? They didn't notice about all these other guys they ultimately went back to work for?
I lied yesterday. Today I'm telling the truth, as Bob Arum once said.
Here we go. Next quote. I was trying to make plays, but this year, I'm shooting. Said Giannis Antetokounmpo are becoming a legit three-point shooter this season. Pablo, if Giannis really turns out to be a long-distance threat this year, how good could he be this season?
He could be. I mean, if this dude is shooting 40% from three, which is a huge jump to make, and I doubt it'll happen this season, but if he does, he might be right there with LeBron James as the best player in the league. He can do things that Anthony Davis cannot do. Anthony Davis cannot play point guard like Giannis can. Giannis can handle the ball, do the thing where he dribbles twice and dunks. Kevin Durant is a way better shooter, but Kevin Durant can't do the things that Giannis does in terms of being that all-around type of two-way guy. So really, it's up to him, but by God, this guy is the number one player GM's picked in this poll before this season as the guy you'd want to start your franchise with for a reason.
Here's the thing. He doesn't have to get to 40, right? Like, if he gets to 40, if you try to make a creative player on a video game with all this stuff and him shooting 40% from three, they won't let you. There aren't enough points to distribute in order to do this. What he needs is what somebody told me once about John Wall many years ago. Just credible. All he needs is a credible jump shot. So if he's a three-point shooter in the realm of 35, 36%, like in shooting 4 or 5 a game, that's enough. And that really changes the game on what he is. And he then would probably firmly be a top 5 player in the league. The thing about the league right now, you call anybody just about a top 5 player, then you go look at who everybody else who's there. That's such a hard thing to say about anybody not named LeBron James or Kevin Durant or Steph Curry right now, that you're a top 5 player.
Right. Last quote. Lieutenant, I didn't really see it as that. Said Kyrie Irving in response to a reporter asking what it was like to be LeBron's lieutenant. But what was your reaction to hearing that?
I'd be curious to know a little more about what he did see it as, if he didn't see it as lieutenant, because I thought lieutenant was phrasing it pretty kindly about what his role was. Lieutenant gets to give input on decisions and stuff like that. If Kyrie was actually a lieutenant, he might still be there. Instead, he was a rookie.
Yes.
He was like, yo, man, I've been in the league 7 years, man. Why you calling me Rook?
Yeah, when that dude went to Tom Hanks and said, I'm the captain now, Tom Hanks didn't become a lieutenant. Like, this guy did not get any word that there would be any sort of deputization process. He thought he was going to be the guy, and then he wasn't. And then he later thought that that guy, correctly, was going to leave, and he didn't want to be the last guy left on a sinking ship. So Kyrie has played this well, but yeah, a lieutenant is a little generous for what he might have been.
But also, we need to give Kyrie some credit. And he mentioned this in this interview. He's like, look, man, everything that you thought was going to happen happened. Like, his move to get out of Cleveland was a wise one.
Yes.
It was a prescient one, and it was absolutely the correct move for him to make for himself. Because can you imagine how it would be like to be Kyrie right now on that team? Right. He could be playing with those dudes, or he could be playing on the best top-to-bottom roster in the NBA.
Yes, they may have given LeBron's locker to Kyrie instead of the bunch of towels that they decided to give it to because they are still very angry at LeBron. But we underestimate, man, how much Kyrie has an ego. I remember when I interviewed him back when he was a rookie, he said, I want guys to come to me in Cleveland. Obviously, he decided to do the opposite, but nonetheless.
Well, I also imagine he realized that LeBron couldn't even get guys really to come to him in Cleveland. They ain't gonna come for you.
Also that.